shot directly above her head as Cunningham with a steal.
Cunningham feeds Sims, who goes.
And today, with the Indiana Fever, comes the devastating update that Sophie Cunningham has officially been ruled out for the rest of the season after tearing her MCL. What exactly happened under the basket that night? Cunningham went down with a torn right MCL, and the team later confirmed her year is over. Cameras even caught Bria Hartley grinning in the aftermath. A moment that left fans outraged and accusing her of doing it on purpose. The officials didn't blow the whistle. The league hasn't commented, and now Sophie's career faces a painful setback. But she's not staying silent, she's firing back at both critics and the league itself. So what exactly did she say? That has everyone stirred up. If you're behind Sophie, drop a fired up for Sophie in the comments. Let's go. The blows just keep coming for Indiana. Cunningham being sidelined isn't surprising given the injuries piling up, but it's still crushing. Cindy Colson is already gone for the year, Ari McDonald too, and now Cunningham joins them. Caitlin Clark has also been sidelined most of the season. The play that shattered the Fever's hopes came in the second quarter against the Connecticut Sun. Hartley drove to the rim, lost her footing, and fell directly into Cunningham's right leg. Sophie collapsed instantly, clutching her knee, and the arena fell silent. Teammates rushed over, and the panic on the Fever bench said it all. This was no minor knock. Many insist Cunningham was deliberately targeted. Hartley's reputation as a rough player only fueled that theory. To make matters worse, just seconds later, cameras caught Hartley with what appeared to be a smile. That single image spread like wildfire online. Fans interpreted it as satisfaction rather than shock, sparking outrage. The officials did nothing, no flagrant. No review, just played on while Cunningham's season ended in real time. Her diagnosis confirmed a torn right MCL, which at least wasn't as catastrophic as an ACL, but still cost her the remainder of the season. The Fever now lose her shooting, toughness, and grit. And fans say this isn't just about one unlucky fall, it's part of a bigger problem. Reckless physicality has been ignored for years, leaving players exposed, and Hartley has been involved in other questionable incidents, which makes this one look even worse. The backlash didn't just fall on Hartley. Fans directed anger at referees and league officials, accusing them of valuing let them play over player safety. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has faced this criticism before, but Cunningham's injury pushed it to a boiling point. Sophie had become a heartbeat for Indiana in Clark's absence. One of the few to publicly defend Clark earlier in the year, and now she was gone. Her family didn't hold back. Sister Lindsay blasted the WNBA, saying they focus more on fining players than protecting them. Their mother, Paula, added fuel, calling Hartley reckless and suggesting this wasn't her first offense. Those posts gave fans a raw glimpse into the anger inside Sophie's circle and piled pressure back on league leadership. When Sophie finally spoke, her tone surprised everyone. On her podcast, she called it an accident, not malice. She said it was simply a bad play at the wrong time, and emphasized she and Hartley are close friends. She even told fans to stop harassing Hartley, stressing she had nothing but love for her. Coming from someone who had just lost a season, her response was calm, forgiving, and mature, challenging the narrative that had exploded online. But she didn't shy away from bigger issues. Cunningham pivoted to accountability, arguing her injury highlighted how refs miss dangerous plays, but still punish
the bench and making sure she has that energy late in the game when they need it.
I mean, when you talk about work ethic and fitness, Skylar.
The Indiana Fever were hit with crushing news that sent shockwaves through their season. As Sophie Cunningham has officially been ruled out for the rest of the year with a torn MCL, a devastating blow that came during a night that still has fans seething over what really happened under the basket. Because when Sophie went down clutching her right knee, the Fever quickly confirmed the worst. That her season was over, and almost immediately outrage erupted after cameras caught Bria Hartley smirking in the aftermath, leaving furious fans convinced it was intentional. While officials swallowed their whistles and the league stayed silent, igniting a firestorm around an injury that has not only altered the Fever's season but turned into one of the most polarizing controversies in women's basketball this year. And while Sophie's career now takes a brutal turn, she is not backing down, choosing instead to speak up, directly addressing the league, the haters, and everyone watching. And those words have left people fired up, demanding answers and demanding accountability, because the hits simply keep coming for Indiana. And while losing Cunningham may not have been entirely unexpected given how injuries have piled up, it is no less devastating. With Cindy Colson already out for the season, Ari McDonald sidelined, and of course, Caitlin Clark having been gone much of the year, and now Sophie joins that list, stripping the fever of yet another fighter. And the moment it happened against the Connecticut Sun was anything but subtle. In the second quarter, when Hartley drove recklessly to the rim, lost her balance, and crashed straight into Cunningham's right leg, sending her collapsing to the hardwood in agony, clutching her knee as silence swept the arena. Teammates rushing to her side as the stunned expressions on the Fever bench told the story better than words could. Because this was not a routine knock, this was serious, and many were quick to declare that Sophie Cunningham had been flat-out targeted by Bria Hartley, insisting she went after her leg deliberately, with fans pointing to Hartley's long reputation for dirty play. And when cameras, moments later, caught Hartley appearing to grin, that single frame ricocheted across social media, inflaming suspicion and fury as viewers questioned how any player could smile after another had gone down with a serious injury, and whether or not Hartley meant it. The optics were damning, with fans interpreting it as satisfaction rather than concern. And what infuriated people even more was the officials' refusal to act. No flagrant foul, no review, no escalation. The game just continued, as if nothing had happened, even as Cunningham's season effectively ended on that play, later confirmed as a torn right MCL, an injury less severe than a dreaded ACL tear but still costing her the entire year, stripping the Fever of her toughness, her shooting, her edge, and once again leaving them scrambling. And quickly the outrage widened from Hartley to the league itself, with fans declaring this wasn't just about one play, but about years of reckless physicality going unchecked. Dangerous collisions brushed aside until someone gets seriously hurt. And Hartley in particular has been no stranger to controversy this season, making the collision look less like bad luck and more like part of a troubling pattern. And the silence from leadership under Commissioner Kathy Engelbert only fueled the anger, as critics hammered the WNBA for leaning too heavily on a let-them-play philosophy that leaves athletes vulnerable. And Cunningham's injury became the latest painful exhibit in a case that has been building for far too long, because Sophie had become a heartbeat for Indiana in Caitlin Clark's absence, one of the first to stand publicly in Clark's defense, and now she was gone, a loss that hurt both emotionally and on the floor. And if that weren't enough, the first voices after her injury came not from Sophie herself but from her family, who quickly unleashed their fury, with her sister Lindsay calling out the league directly, blasting officiating and accusing the WNBA of caring more about fining players than protecting them, words that hit hard because they echoed what fans had already been shouting. And her mother Paula added even more fire in a now-deleted post, labeling Hartley reckless and out of control, implying this wasn't her first time crossing the line. And those raw responses gave the public an unfiltered look at the rage inside Sophie's circle, putting added pressure on officials and league leadership. And Lindsay's words rang especially loud, saying maybe the league should focus less on fining players for criticizing officiating and more on hiring referees capable of calling consistent games and protecting athletes, a blunt indictment that fans rallied behind. But when Sophie finally broke her silence, she shocked many with a measured response that flipped the conversation. Using her podcast to explain, she viewed the play as unfortunate but not malicious, saying she believed it was simply a basketball accident, that she happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, stressing that she and Hartley were actually close friends and that she had nothing but love for her, even going so far as to plead with fans to stop directing hate at Hartley, a surprisingly calm and mature reaction from someone who had just lost her season. And it challenged the narrative that had spiraled online, showing composure, forgiveness, and perspective. Yet Sophie did not stop there, because in that same appearance, she pivoted toward accountability, tying her injury to a broader pattern of missed calls and misplaced priorities, reminding listeners that she herself had already been fined 3 separate times by the WNBA, including for comments about Paige Bucher's, comments she insists weren't even malicious, highlighting how the league is quick to punish words while failing to protect players' bodies. And that context explained why her family's anger had been so sharp. Because they've seen Sophie penalized for speaking the truth while officials ignored dangerous play, and then came the post that flipped the tone entirely, when Sophie dropped a line on social media that spread instantly, writing, "Some of us were raised by the words, 'Don't bite off more than you can chew.' And some of us didn't around and find out." A blunt, fiery statement that carried a completely different energy from her calm podcast. And if the podcast showed composure, the post showed fire. Quickly embraced by fans as a rallying cry, proof Sophie wasn't broken and wasn't backing down, and when haters came at her sister, Sophie herself doubled down, repeating the same words with even more defiance, cementing her dual image as both respectful and unshakably tough. Her measured words proving integrity while her post proved resilience. Together painting the picture of an athlete who refuses to be defined by victimhood even in one of her hardest moments. And yet the question lingered for many fans, was this collision truly an accident? Or was it part of something bigger about Hartley's reckless style of play that the league has failed to address? Because Hartley's name has carried controversy all season. Not without reason. As earlier in the year, she was ejected alongside Rebecca Allen and Ariel Atkins in a heated Chicago, Connecticut clash after escalating a physical tangle into a full skirmish, a rare triple ejection that painted her in a bad light. And then came another ugly incident against Angel Reese. When cameras caught Hartley yanking Reese's hair during a scramble for a loose ball, a moment that fans saw as completely out of bounds, proof that Hartley relies on tactics beyond normal physical basketball. And when you put those together with clips of her shoving and bumping opponents unnecessarily, a track record forms. Which is exactly why fans so readily believed she may have intentionally gone after Cunningham. And within hours of Sophie's injury, social media filled with demands for Hartley's suspension, with posts declaring she had intentionally targeted Sophie's leg and asking outright why she was even still in the league. And whether intent can ever be proven or not, the pattern made it easy for thousands to believe this wasn't just bad luck. And when that viral picture of Hartley grinning spread, it sealed her reputation as a dirty player in the minds of many. Yet through it all, the WNBA stayed silent. No suspension, no review, no explanation, and fans blasted leadership and officials for hiding behind physical play while ignoring reckless danger, a failure that has only reinforced Hartley's dirty image, because each time the league refuses to step in, the perception grows darker, and many have flat out said Sophie Cunningham was targeted by a dirty player. And while this storm raged, the Fever still had to face reality, down key players, with Sophie now gone and Caitlin Clark still injured, staring at a 21-point deficit on the road against Connecticut, a moment that should have buried their season, but instead what unfolded was something unforgettable, because even with Sophie out and their roster depleted, the Fever refused to quit, mounting the greatest comeback in franchise history, a defiant answer in the face of adversity, clawing back from down 63-42 in the third quarter to stun the Sun 99-93 in overtime. And at the center of it all was Kelsey Mitchell, who delivered the performance of her career, pouring in 38 points, 34 of them after halftime, shooting 11-22, hitting 5 threes, and going 11-12 at the line. Then completely taking over overtime by scoring Indiana's first 10 points, an assassin dragging her team to victory. But she wasn't alone, because Aaliyah Boston battled all night in the paint for a gritty double-double of 14 points and 13 rebounds, muscling against veterans like